The mail-order bride left alone at the station until a cowboy's daughter whispered, "Are you the Ang?" The airlock hissed behind her, sealing the shuttle off from the empty expanse of Aurora Prime's frontier station. She looked around, trying to spot a welcoming committee or at least someone to greet her. But all she saw were the silent metal walls of the station, lit by dim amber lights and the endless blackness of space beyond. Her heart pounded. She had traveled for weeks to reach this station, answering an offer she hadn't fully understood, a mail-order bride contract for a wealthy man she had never met. Every message had been polite, businesslike, and strangely distant, but still, she had agreed. She had imagined a warm welcome, a bustling station with people ready to take her in, maybe even friends to talk to while she waited for her new life to begin. Instead, there was only silence. The station was small but complicated, with narrow corridors, metallic panels, and blinking lights that seemed to follow her every step. Her boots clicked against the floor as she walked, echoing in the emptiness. She passed maintenance rooms, storage bays, and control panels, all quiet, all seemingly abandoned. The only sound was the low hum of the station's life support system and the distant vibrations of engines somewhere beyond. Elena stopped at a console and pressed a button, hoping to summon someone, anyone, but the screen flickered and displayed a simple message: "No personnel present. Welcome to Aurora Prime." Her fingers hesitated over the panel. This wasn't what she had expected. The words on the screen were polite but mechanical, cold. A sense of unease settled over her. She had been prepared for loneliness, perhaps, but not for being completely alone. She took a deep breath and decided to explore further. The corridors twisted like a maze, and every turn made the station feel bigger, emptier. She began to feel the weight of isolation pressing in, the kind of isolation that made her imagine shadows moving where there were none, that made every creak of metal sound like footsteps following her. She stopped again when she reached the observation deck. Large, reinforced windows showed the stars in every direction. Aurora Prime's twin suns hung in the distance, casting faint light over the barren asteroid fields below. It was beautiful, breathtaking even, but also lonely in a way that made her throat tighten. Elena knelt by the railing, staring at the distant planets and blinking satellites. "What am I doing here?" she wondered. She had agreed to come to this place, thinking of it as the first step to a new life. But now, faced with the emptiness of the station and the silence of the halls, she wondered if she had made a mistake. Her thoughts were interrupted by a faint sound, barely audible at first, a whisper carried through the station's intercom system. "Are you the Ang?" Elena froze. The voice was soft, almost a breath, yet unmistakably human. She glanced around, but no one was there. She pressed herself against the console, straining to hear. The words repeated just once more before fading into static. Who could that be? She thought, her pulse quickening. There were no other passengers, no workers on the station, at least none she could see. She reached for the communicator on her belt and tried calling out. "Hello? Anyone there?" Only silence answered her. The hum of the engines and the life support systems was steady, unchanging. She swallowed hard, forcing herself to stay calm. Whoever, or whatever, had whispered it hadn't said much. But it had been human. That much she was sure of. Elena decided to continue exploring, cautiously this time. She walked down a corridor lined with storage lockers, peeking inside a few that had sliding doors. Some contained supplies for the station, food packs, tools, and maintenance drones, but none of them seemed in use. It was as if the station had been abandoned for weeks, maybe months. At the end of the corridor, she found a staircase leading down to the lower decks. She hesitated before descending. The lower decks were dimly lit, filled with pipes and machinery, and smelled faintly of oil and metal. The shadows seemed darker here, more alive. She moved carefully, trying to keep her breathing even, telling herself that she was imagining things. As she rounded a corner, she spotted a small panel on the wall. It was slightly ajar, revealing wires and circuits inside. She knelt to inspect it, thinking she might be able to access the station's communication system through it. Her fingers worked quickly, guided by a mixture of curiosity and fear. She had learned some basic tech skills during her training back on Earth, and now they might be useful. After a few tense minutes, she managed to get a small display to light up. It showed several camera feeds around the station. Most of the images were empty corridors and storage rooms, but one feed caught her eye. A figure, a young girl, maybe 12 or 13, was crouched near a maintenance hatch. She had light hair and a determined expression, staring directly at the camera. Elena gasped softly, "Someone is here." Before she could react further, the intercom crackled again, and the same soft voice whispered, "Are you the Aang?" Elena felt a chill run down her spine. This time she responded instinctively, "Yes, I am. Who are you?" There was a pause, then the girl's voice returned, just as soft but firmer. I can help you, but you have to trust me." Elena studied the grainy image of the girl. She seemed harmless, but the station's emptiness and the earlier whispering had made her wary. Still, a human presence, especially a friendly one, was a comfort she hadn't expected. "Okay," Elena said, trying to steady her voice. "I'll trust you, but first, why are you here?" The girl glanced around quickly, as if making sure no one else was listening. "My name's Tara. My dad works on the asteroid ranch nearby. I came here because the station, it's not right. Something's wrong." Elena nodded slowly. It made sense in a way she couldn't explain. The station had a strange feeling, as if it were waiting for something or someone. She stood and motioned toward the stairs. "Then let's find out together," she said. Tara's eyes lit up, and for the first time since arriving, Elena felt a spark of hope. She wasn't completely alone anymore. They moved through the station together, cautiously exploring and communicating through whispers and hand signals. Tara proved to be clever, pointing out weak spots in the station's security systems and suggesting alternate paths. Elena followed, her fear slowly replaced by curiosity and determination. As they explored, they found more signs that the station had been tampered with. Doors that should have been locked were open. Maintenance drones were active but idle, waiting for instructions. And there were strange messages on encrypted panels, messages that seemed to be left for someone, warning them of a danger or a plan that Elena could not yet understand. The air seemed to thicken with tension, as if the station itself were aware of their presence. Elena felt her senses sharpen, every sound, every flicker of light drawing her attention. She realized that she had underestimated herself. Despite her fear, she was capable of thinking quickly, solving problems and adapting. The station had become not just a place of uncertainty, but a proving ground for her courage and intellect. Hours passed, though time felt different in the station's dim corridors. They finally reached a large, reinforced door labeled "Restricted Access, Authorized Personnel Only." Behind it, a faint blue glow pulsed. Elena's heart raced. "This must be it," Tara whispered. "This is where the answers are." Elena nodded. She took a deep breath, her hand resting on the door panel. She had no idea what they would find, but she knew one thing. She was no longer just a passive participant in someone else's plan. She was alive, alert, and ready to face whatever the station had in store. She pressed the panel and the door slid open with a hiss, revealing a small room bathed in soft blue light. In the center stood a single stasis pod, its glass surface shimmering. Elena's breath caught in her throat as she read the label on the pod. Elena Gray, her name. Her life, her unknown destiny. Tara stepped closer, her eyes wide. "I told you something's wrong here." Elena approached the pod, her mind racing. Who had left this? Why was it here? And most importantly, what did it mean for her future? For the first time, fear mixed with excitement. She was alone, stranded, but no longer helpless. And in the quiet of the frontier station, under the watchful stars of Aurora Prime, she realized something profound. She would not be a pawn in anyone else's game. She would find her own path. The stars outside seemed to shine brighter, reflecting her resolve. Whatever lay ahead, she knew she could face it. And somewhere deep in the station, a soft hum of machinery and a whisper of wind carried a promise. Elena's journey had only just begun. Elena stepped back from the stasis pod, her hands still trembling. She had no idea who had left it there, or why it had her name on it. A chill ran down her spine as she considered the possibility that someone knew exactly who she was, even before she arrived on Aurora Prime. Tara, standing beside her, glanced at the pod with wide eyes. This isn't normal," she whispered. "Something's really wrong with this station." Elena nodded slowly, taking a deep breath to steady herself. "I know, but maybe we can figure it out together." Tara smiled faintly, though fear still lingered in her eyes. "I've been here before. Not inside the station, but around it. My dad runs the asteroid ranch nearby. He told me to stay away, said the station was dangerous, but I had to see it myself. I knew something wasn't right." Elena studied her new companion. The girl was small, but her eyes were sharp and determined. She moved with confidence, even in the eerie silence of the station. Elena realized that Tara's courage could be valuable. And she was right. Together, they might have a chance to uncover the secrets hiding in the station's corridors. They began to move carefully through the station. Elena led the way, consulting the camera feeds and checking doors as they passed. Tara stayed close behind, pointing out maintenance panels, access tunnels, and emergency exits. "This way," Tara said, stopping at a narrow maintenance hatch. "It leads to the lower decks. Most of the activity I've seen happens down there. If someone is watching, that's where we'll find them, or at least their clues." Elena nodded. "Good, let's move quietly." The hatch opened with a soft click. They climbed down into the lower decks, which smelled faintly of oil and metal. Pipes ran along the walls, and the faint blue glow of the station's systems illuminated the narrow corridors. Every sound echoed, making the place feel larger and emptier than it actually was. As they walked, Elena noticed strange markings on the walls, small symbols etched into the metal almost like a secret code. She crouched to examine them. "These symbols, they're not random," she said. "Someone left them for a reason." Tara peered over her shoulder. "Maybe they're instructions, or warnings." Elena traced her finger over the markings. They seemed to point toward a storage bay at the far end of the deck. She motioned for Tara to follow, and they moved cautiously, every step deliberate. When they reached the storage bay, Elena pressed a button on the door panel. The door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a small room filled with crates, maintenance drones, and equipment. Most of the drones were inactive, but a few flickered with life, moving in small circles as if performing routine checks. Elena's eyes were drawn to a panel on the wall, its screen glowing faintly. She stepped closer and tapped a few buttons, accessing the station's internal communications. The screen displayed a series of encrypted messages, messages that had been left for someone, warning them of events that had yet to happen. "These messages, they're about me," Elena whispered, her voice trembling. "Someone knew I would be here." Tara leaned closer. "Then we have to find out who, but be careful. If they left messages, they might still be watching." Elena nodded. She focused on the screen, trying to decode the messages. Her mind worked quickly, piecing together fragments of words and symbols. It became clear that someone had orchestrated her arrival, and the station itself had been modified to test her, or perhaps to trap her. Suddenly the intercom crackled to life again. The same soft voice whispered, "Follow the lights, trust no one but yourself." Elena's heart skipped a beat. The voice was familiar, like the one that had greeted her when she first arrived. "Who are you?" she called out. No answer came, only the faint hum of the station's systems. Tara took Elena's hand. "Don't panic," she said. "We can figure this out. You're smart. I've seen you work. We just need to stay calm and think." Elena nodded, grateful for the support. Together, they followed a series of small, blinking lights along the floor, lights that seemed to guide them deeper into the station. The lights led to a hallway she had not seen before, narrow and dimly lit, with panels on the walls displaying strange symbols. "This station, it's alive in a way," Elena murmured. "It responds to us or at least watches us." Tara nodded. "I think the lights are trying to tell us something. Maybe they're safe. Maybe they're dangerous. We'll have to be careful." As they moved forward, they discovered a hidden room, concealed behind a sliding panel. Inside, they found a small laboratory filled with equipment, some of it still active. Screens displayed schematics of the station, energy readings, and lists of names. One of the names caught Elena's eye, her own. She stepped closer, heart racing. "It's my name and a date, today's date. Someone planned this, planned me coming here." Tara glanced at the screens. "Then whoever did this, they might still be here, or watching us from somewhere." Elena swallowed hard. Fear threatened to overwhelm her, but she forced herself to focus. She had traveled across space, faced uncertainty, and now she had Tara by her side. They could handle this together. They began examining the lab more carefully, searching for clues. In one corner, they found a small crate labeled Personal Cargo Elena Gray. Inside were supplies, food packs, tools, and a small data pad. Elena picked up the data pad and powered it on. It contained messages, instructions, and schematics that seemed to anticipate every move she might make. This is incredible," Elena said. "Whoever did this, they expected me to be capable. They must have known I could handle it." Tara smiled faintly. "That's you. Humans can do amazing things when we have to. You're proving it right now." Elena felt a surge of determination. She realized that, despite the fear and uncertainty, she had the skills, intelligence, and courage to face whatever was ahead. She would not be a passive participant in someone else's plan. She would take control of her destiny. Suddenly, the station shuddered. The lights flickered and a low hum filled the corridors. Elena and Tara exchanged a worried glance. "What was that?" Tara whispered. Elena shook her head. "I don't know, but it doesn't feel good." They moved quickly to the nearest console, checking the station's systems. Elena's fingers flew over the buttons, her mind working fast. She discovered that the station's security drones had activated, scanning the corridors for intruders. "They're looking for us," Elena said. "We need to stay ahead of them." Tara nodded. "Then let's split up. We can distract them and meet back here." Elena hesitated. "Are you sure?" Tara smiled confidently. "We'll be fine, we're humans, we can outsmart them." Elena took a deep breath and nodded. Together they devised a plan. Tara would lead the drones away using a small maintenance bot she had found, while Elena accessed the station's main control panel to gather more information about who had set this up. The plan worked better than expected. Tara guided the drones into a maintenance tunnel, using the bot to draw their attention. Elena moved quickly through the corridors, unlocking doors and accessing hidden files. She discovered more messages, notes warning of a larger conspiracy, hints of someone in the nearby colony who might be involved. Hours passed in tense silence. The drones were finally diverted, and Elena returned to the lab where Tara was waiting. Both girls were tired, but their determination had not wavered. "We did it," Tara whispered. "We're still in control." Elena nodded, feeling a mix of relief and excitement. They had survived the first challenge, uncovered secrets, and discovered that the station was more dangerous and more fascinating than she had imagined. "This is just the beginning," Elena said. "We'll need to keep moving, keep learning." "Whoever set this up, they won't give up easily," Tara grinned. "Then let's be ready. Humans always find a way, right?" Elena smiled. She realized that despite the fear, the uncertainty, and the isolation, she was not alone. She had Tara, and together they could face whatever the frontier had in store. The station hummed around them, quiet once more but filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. And as Elena looked out at the stars through the observation window, she felt a spark of hope. She was stranded among the stars, yes, but she was also capable, clever, and ready to take control of her destiny. Whatever lay ahead, she knew one thing for certain: she would not be a pawn, she would be a survivor. And with Tara by her side, she was ready to face the mysteries of Aurora Prime and beyond. Elena and Tara had spent hours moving through the lower decks of the station. The hum of machinery filled the air, a constant reminder that the station was alive in its own mechanical way. Every corridor they passed seemed to hold secrets, and Elena's mind raced as she pieced together the strange messages and schematics they had found. "This station isn't just abandoned," Elena whispered as they paused near a dimly lit corridor. "Someone built this place to do more than hold cargo or people. It's a hub for something else." Tara glanced around nervously. "Something bad?" Elena shook her head. "Not necessarily, just complicated. Whoever designed this knew exactly what they were doing. And they knew I would be coming." The thought made her stomach tighten. Every step she had taken since arriving felt pre-planned, like the station itself was a puzzle meant for her to solve. But that puzzle was dangerous, and the stakes were higher than she had realized. They followed the blinking lights again, leading them toward a section of the station that seemed more secure. The walls were reinforced with thick steel, and the doors required complex codes to open. Tara tried to stay close, but her eyes kept flicking to every shadow, every corner. Elena understood her fear, she felt it too, but she forced herself to focus. "This way," Elena said, pointing to a maintenance ladder leading upward. "I think there's another deck we haven't explored. It might tell us who set all this up." They climbed carefully, the metal ladder rattling softly beneath their hands. At the top, they found a small control room. Screens lined the walls, displaying maps of the station, energy readings, and names they did not recognize. One screen showed a small shuttle approaching the station, and Elena's pulse quickened. "Someone's coming," she said quietly. Tara's eyes widened. "Do you think it's the people who set this up?" Elena considered it. Maybe someone who can help. We won't know until they arrive." They crouched behind a console as the shuttle docked. The airlock hissed, and a figure stepped out, silhouetted against the light. The stranger moved cautiously, scanning the corridors, and then stopped when they saw Elena and Tara. "You're Elena Gray, aren't you?" the stranger asked. Elena nodded slowly, her hand instinctively moving toward her bag. "Yes, who are you?" The figure stepped closer, holding up empty hands in a gesture of peace. "My name is Rillan. I know why you're here, and I know what this station is really for." Tara whispered, "Do we trust him?" Elena hesitated, but something in Rillan's calm voice and steady posture told her he was telling the truth. "We don't have a choice," she said softly. "We need answers." Rillan nodded. "Good, then listen carefully. This station is part of a larger network, a hub for the trade consortium, but not the kind of trade you're thinking of. They deal in information, secrets, and leverage over frontier colonies, and they knew you would arrive here. They planned it." Elena felt a shiver run down her spine. "They planned me. Why?" Rillan's eyes were serious. "Because you are important. Your family, your connections, the contracts you signed, they all matter to them. They want to use you as leverage." Tara frowned. "Leverage for what?" "Power," Rillan said simply. "Control, influence. And they've built this station to observe, test, and, if necessary, contain anyone who might disrupt their plans. That includes you." Elena felt a mixture of fear and determination. She had known this was risky, but the reality of it hit her hard. She looked at Tara, who nodded encouragingly. Together, they had faced uncertainty before, and now they faced something bigger, something that would require all their skill and courage. Rillan led them to a large table in the center of the room, where a holographic map of the frontier region flickered to life. Small dots marked stations, colonies, and asteroid ranches, including Tara's father, S. Lines connected each location, showing a network that was both intricate and dangerous. This network monitors trade, communication, and movement, Rillen explained. But it also manipulates decisions, influences contracts, and controls information flow. They knew you would arrive at this station because they calculated it, and now they're watching every move you make. Elena leaned closer to the map. So everything I've experienced, the empty station, the whispers, the stasis pod, it was all part of their plan, Rillen nodded. Yes, they wanted to see how you would react, what decisions you would make, but they underestimated one thing. What's that? Tara asked. You, Rillen said, looking at Elena. Humans are unpredictable, clever, resourceful. The station may have been designed for control, but it cannot anticipate the choices of someone like you. Elena felt a spark of hope. Despite the fear and the uncertainty, she realized Rillen was right. Her mind worked quickly, piecing together what needed to be done next. They couldn't wait for the consortium to make a move, they had to act first. Then we need to find the source, Elena said. We need to know who set this up and why, and we need to stop them from using this station against anyone else. Rillen nodded. There's a secure control hub deeper in the station. If we can reach it, we can access the mainframe, see everything they've planned, and possibly shut it down. Tara looked uneasy. Deeper into the station, that sounds dangerous. Elena smiled faintly. It is. But we've come this far. We can't stop now. The three of them moved cautiously through the station, following narrow corridors and hidden maintenance tunnels. Elena led the way, using her knowledge of the station's systems to unlock doors and bypass security measures. Tara stayed close, alert and watchful, while Rillen provided guidance and additional technical expertise. As they approached the control hub, they encountered more automated drones patrolling the corridors. Elena quickly devised a plan. Using a combination of maintenance bots and makeshift distractions, they were able to divert the drones long enough to slip past them. It required precision, timing, and nerves of steel, but they succeeded. Finally, they reached the control hub. The doors were massive and reinforced, but Elena quickly accessed the panel and opened them. Inside, the room was filled with holographic displays, control consoles, and data nodes. Energy readings pulsed rhythmically, showing the station was alive and responsive. Elena approached a console and began accessing the mainframe. Lines of code and encrypted messages filled the screen. She moved quickly, deciphering the information with practiced ease. It became clear that the consortium had planned to use the station to manipulate frontier colonies, influence trade contracts, and maintain control over the region. This is huge, Tara whispered, eyes wide. They've been controlling so much from one station, Elena nodded. Yes. And if we can shut it down, we can stop them. Rillen looked at her with admiration. You've done more than anyone expected. You're proving exactly what I said. Humans are unpredictable, resourceful, and clever. They never accounted for that. Elena felt a surge of determination. Fear still lingered, but it was tempered by purpose. They weren't just surviving, they were taking control. Suddenly, an alert flashed on the console. The mainframe detected an intrusion attempt. The station shuddered as automated defenses activated. Drones reappeared in the corridors, moving faster, more aggressively. We need to move, Rillen shouted. Elena worked quickly, accessing the control system to override the defenses. Her fingers flew over the panel, inputting commands and rerouting power. The drones slowed, then stopped, their circuits temporarily disabled. That was close, Tara said, breathing heavily. Elena wiped sweat from her forehead. Too close, but it's not over. We need to secure this hub, find out who orchestrated everything, and make sure the station can't be used against anyone else. Rillen nodded. Agreed, but we have allies nearby. We aren't alone in this fight. The frontier has people who value freedom, who won't let the consortium control everything. If we call them, we can strengthen our position. Elena glanced at Tara. You ready for that? Tara nodded firmly. I'm ready. Let's do this. Together, the three of them began securing the station, gathering data, and planning their next moves. The shadows of the conspiracy loomed large, but Elena felt something powerful within her: confidence, clarity, and the determination to protect herself and the frontier from those who sought control. As they worked, the station hummed around them, alive with energy and secrets. Elena realized that this was only the beginning of their fight. The consortium might have planned everything, but they hadn't planned for human ingenuity, courage, and the unpredictability of the human spirit. And in the quiet hum of Aurora Prime's frontier station, Elena, Tara, and Rillen prepared to take the first step in turning the shadows of conspiracy into a battle they could win. The stars outside glimmered like distant witnesses to their resolve. They were not alone. They were humans, and humans always found a way. Elena, Tara, and Rillen had spent the last hours securing the station's control hub, but there was no time to rest. The mainframe hummed with energy, and the lights flickered as if warning them of what was to come. Elena's hands flew over the consoles, rerouting power, scanning logs, and decoding encrypted messages. Every keystroke counted. "This station isn't just being watched," Elena said, her eyes fixed on a series of displays. "It's alive in a way. Someone built it to think, to predict our moves, and to respond automatically. There's an AI controlling everything." Tara's eyes widened. "An AI? How dangerous is it?" Rillen shook his head. "Extremely. It's designed to protect the consortium's interests. It can control doors, drones, energy systems, anything. If it sees us as a threat, it won't hesitate to act." Elena's jaw tightened. "Then we have to outsmart it. We can't fight it with force. We need to use our brains. Its logic is strong, but it can't predict human creativity." The AI's presence became obvious almost immediately. Lights in the control hub dimmed and brightened rhythmically, and panels flashed warnings. "Unauthorized access detected." The station groaned as automated doors sealed themselves, and drones patrolled faster than ever. "We don't have much time," Rillen said. "If it isolates the hub completely, we'll be trapped." Elena nodded. Her mind raced, thinking through every possible solution. Then she had an idea. "We can use the maintenance bots and the station's own systems against it. It expects us to follow its rules, but if we make it follow false patterns, we can trick it into giving us control." Tara's eyes lit up. "How do we do that?" Elena pointed to a series of small maintenance bots lined up in the corner. "These bots can simulate intrusions, trigger sensors, and distract the AI. While it focuses on them, we can access the mainframe and override its directives." Rillen nodded. "It's risky, but it could work. I'll help you coordinate the bots." For the next hour, they worked in precise synchronization. Tara guided the bots into corridors, activating sensors and triggering alarms, while Elena and Rillen accessed the mainframe. The AI responded immediately, sending drones to intercept the bots, adjusting energy flows, and attempting to lock them out of the control hub. Elena's fingers flew over the keyboard. She created false energy surges and looped sensor readings to confuse the AI. Rillen monitored the network, rerouting power and ensuring that the bots stayed one step ahead. Tara's quick thinking allowed them to anticipate the AI's responses and stay ahead. "Almost there," Elena muttered, sweat running down her forehead. "Just a few more sequences and we can take full control." The AI reacted violently, shutting down certain corridors and activating additional drones. Lights flickered, casting long shadows across the control hub. The hum of the station grew louder, almost like a heartbeat, and the temperature shifted as energy rerouted through the systems. "This is it," Rillen said. "One wrong move and it could lock us out permanently." Elena's hands didn't stop moving. Her mind worked faster than ever, anticipating the AI's logic and finding ways to outmaneuver it. Finally, she reached the final override command. She hesitated for a moment, taking a deep breath. Then she pressed enter. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the station shuddered, lights stabilized, and the drones froze mid-patrol. Panels flashed green, override successful, control secured. Tara let out a relieved laugh. We did it, we actually did it. Elena smiled, though she remained focused. Not completely yet. The AI is still there. It can't predict humans, but it will adapt. We need to secure the system so it can't regain control. Rillen nodded. We can do that by isolating its core programming and redirecting its functions to non-essential systems. It won't be able to influence anything important anymore. They work together, rerouting systems, disabling autonomous energy flows, and sealing off sections of the station under AI control. The hum of the machinery shifted from threatening to steady, almost peaceful. The drones powered down and the station's lights glowed softly, illuminating the control hub in warm tones. Once they were certain the AI could no longer threaten them, Elena finally allowed herself a moment to breathe. "We've done it," she said quietly. "We've taken control." Tara grinned. "That's amazing, you really outsmarted a machine." Elena laughed softly. "It wasn't just me, we did it together. Humans have something machines don't: creativity, intuition, and unpredictability. That's our strength." Rillen looked at her with admiration. "You've proven it. The consortium underestimated humans and they almost paid the price for it. You didn't just survive, you triumphed." But even as they celebrated, Elena's mind remained sharp. They had won the battle, but the war was far from over. The consortium had resources, allies, and other stations. This victory was only the beginning of a larger struggle. "We need information," Elena said. "We need to know who set this up, why, and what their next moves might be. The AI may be under control now, but the humans behind it are. They could come back at any moment." Rillen nodded. "I've already begun accessing secure files. There's a lot here: contracts, hidden communications, and plans for other stations. If we can decrypt it all, we can see the bigger picture." Tara leaned over a console. "Do you think they'll come after us?" Elena considered it. "Maybe, but now we have a weapon they can't predict us. And we're smart, resourceful, and ready. We just need to be careful and act strategically." Hours passed as they sifted through data, uncovering evidence of the consortium's influence over frontier colonies. They discovered how certain trade routes were manipulated, how messages were intercepted, and how decisions had been influenced across vast distances. The scale of it was staggering, but Elena felt no fear, only determination. "This isn't just about me," she said, eyes scanning lines of code and correspondence. "It's about everyone who could be affected. We have to stop them before they manipulate anyone else." Tara's face lit up with understanding. "We can't let them control the frontier." "Not if we can help it," Elena smiled. "Exactly. Humans have always explored, built, and survived in places machines never fully understood. This station, this AI, it underestimated that. And that's our advantage." Rillen added, "With the AI neutralized, we can use the station as a hub of our own. We can monitor the consortium's movements, gather intelligence, and protect the colonies they try to manipulate." Elena nodded. She felt a surge of pride and hope. They had turned the station's threat into a tool, and they were no longer merely reacting, they were acting. The frontier was theirs to safeguard. As the night passed on Aurora Prime, the trio worked tirelessly. Elena coordinated the station's systems, Tara helped organize the bots and patrol schedules, and Rillen decrypted messages and files. Together, they formed a small but formidable team. Finally, Elena stepped back from the main console. She looked at the control hub, now calm and fully operational under human command. "We did it," she said softly. "We took control, we outsmarted the AI, and we now have the means to protect ourselves and the colonies." Tara smiled proudly. "And we did it together. Humans really can do anything when we work as a team." Elena agreed, her gaze returning to the stars outside the observation window. The twin suns of Aurora Prime shone faintly in the distance. a reminder that the frontier was vast, challenging, and full of opportunities. The station's hum had changed. It was no longer threatening but alive with possibilities. Rillen approached her. "You've proven something important today, Elena. Machines can calculate, predict, and respond, but they cannot match human ingenuity." "That's the real power in the universe," Elena nodded. "We've only just begun. The consortium may still have plans, but we now have the advantage, and humans always find a way, even in the darkest places." Tara looked out at the stars, her eyes wide with wonder. "Then let's keep going. Let's explore, protect, and make sure the frontier stays free." Elena smiled, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the station's systems. Together, they were stronger, smarter, and ready for whatever came next. The station was no longer a trap. It was a new beginning. And as the three of them prepared for the challenges ahead, Elena realized something profound. Human spirit, creativity, and courage could overcome even the most advanced machines. The frontier was dangerous, mysterious, and full of unknowns, but it was also theirs to explore, protect, and shape. And somewhere deep in the humming corridors of Aurora Prime Station, a soft light glimmered, reflecting hope, determination, and the unstoppable power of humanity. Elena, Tara, and Rillen had faced the machine, and won. But the real journey was only beginning. The hum of Aurora Prime Station was steady now, a gentle rhythm that reflected the calm after the storm. Elena Gray stood at the observation window, her eyes tracing the twin suns of the frontier world. The station that had once felt cold, empty, and threatening now felt alive, not as a trap, but as a tool, a beacon, and a home. Beside her, Tara adjusted a panel, checking the energy flows. "Everything's stable," she said with a satisfied smile. "The drones are offline, the AI is contained, and all systems are fully under our control." Rillen, leaning against a console, nodded. "It's remarkable what a few humans can do when they work together. We've neutralized the station's threats and now have the means to keep it safe." Elena turned to them both. "This station isn't just a station anymore. It's a hub. We can monitor the frontier, protect colonies, and gather information to prevent the consortium from controlling anyone else." Her voice was steady, firm, and confident. "But we can't stop here. There's more to do." Tara's eyes sparkled with excitement. "More adventures." Elena smiled. "Exactly. The frontier is vast. There are colonies, stations, and planets out there that the consortium might try to influence. We can't let that happen." Rillen straightened. "Then we act. We start here with this station and expand our reach. We've already proven that humans are clever, resourceful, and unpredictable. That's our advantage over machines and schemes." Elena took a deep breath, letting the quiet of the station settle over her. She thought about how far she had come, from a stranger arriving as a mail-order bride to a strategist, a protector, and a leader. Fear had been her companion at first, but it had transformed into focus, courage, and determination. She looked at Tara, who had been her steadfast partner, and felt a surge of gratitude. "You know," Elena said softly, "I never expected to find a friend here, or someone I could trust, but I did, and I'm glad I did." Tara laughed lightly. "I didn't expect to find adventure on a dusty station either, but I'm glad I stayed. You're a good partner, Elena. We make a strong team." Rillen smiled. "It's rare to find people like you two, resourceful, smart, and brave. The frontier needs more of that." Elena turned back to the observation window. Stars twinkled against the dark sky, distant worlds waiting to be explored. Her mind traced the possibilities, the colonies they could help, the mysteries they could uncover, and the lives they could protect from the consortium's manipulations. But her thoughts returned to something more personal. The mail-order contract, the original plan that had brought her here, no longer mattered. She didn't need to follow someone else's plan for her life. She had agency now. She had choice. And for the first time in months, she felt free. "I think it's time," Elena said, turning to Tara and Rillen. Time to leave the past behind, time to shape our own future, Tara grinned. And where do we start? Elena pointed toward the stars. Out there, we chart our course. We explore, protect, and make sure the frontier remains free. No one else controls it, we do. Rillan nodded in agreement. Then let's prepare the station for travel. We can map trade routes, monitor colonies, and ensure that the consortium can't interfere. Over the next several hours, the trio worked methodically. Elena coordinated the station's systems, ensuring that navigation, communications, and energy flows were stable. Tara programmed maintenance bots to patrol the corridors, securing sensitive areas and keeping drones inactive. Rillan focused on data, decoding consortium communications and identifying potential threats to frontier colonies. The station was no longer just a place. They had transformed it into a base of operations, a beacon of human ingenuity and perseverance. Every adjustment, every calculation, and every strategy they implemented reflected their unique strengths and teamwork. Finally, the preparations were complete. The shuttle bay doors opened, revealing the endless black of space dotted with stars. Elena stood at the entrance, her hand resting on the console, watching the docking clamps release the station's small transport shuttle. "This is it," she said. "Time to take the first step beyond Aurora Prime." Tara adjusted the shuttle's navigation systems. "We're ready. Let's see what's out there." Rillan joined them, his expression serious but hopeful. "Whatever comes next, we're prepared. We've faced danger, outsmarted machines, and uncovered conspiracies. Nothing will stop us now." Elena nodded. She felt a surge of determination, courage, and excitement. The frontier was vast and it was full of possibilities. She wasn't just surviving, she was leading, shaping, and protecting. Humans had always thrived in the unknown, and now she and her companions were ready to continue that legacy. The shuttle activated, engines humming as it detached from the station. Stars stretched into streaks of light as it accelerated, leaving Aurora Prime behind. Elena, Tara, and Rillan sat together, silent for a moment, letting the magnitude of their achievement sink in. Then Elena spoke, her voice calm but full of resolve. "We're human, we're capable. We adapt, we learn, and we overcome. That's why we survive in the frontier," Tara smiled. "And we make a pretty good team while we're at it." Rillan chuckled softly. "Indeed, but remember, there are others out there. Colonies that need help, stations that are vulnerable, and consortia that will try to regain control. Our work isn't finished." Elena's eyes sparkled as she gazed at the stars. "Then we'll keep going. We'll explore, protect, and make sure that humanity thrives. That's what the frontier is for. That's what we're for." The shuttle glided past asteroid fields, weaving through clusters of rocks and debris, showing glimpses of planets and distant settlements. Each new world seemed to promise adventure, challenge, and opportunity. Elena felt a sense of exhilaration she had never known, a mix of freedom, purpose, and hope. As the shuttle entered hyperspace, the stars stretched into long streaks, filling the cabin with a brilliant blur of light. Elena, Tara, and Rillan sat side by side, ready to face whatever awaited them. The frontier was no longer a distant dream, it was their reality. Elena reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The empty station, the mysterious whispers, the rogue AI, and the conspiracies that had threatened to trap them. Every obstacle had tested their courage, intelligence, and resolve. And every challenge had strengthened their bond, proving that humans could adapt, survive, and even thrive in the most uncertain circumstances. She thought about the station, now secured and humming steadily. It had been a test, a trap, and a proving ground. But it had also been a place where they discovered the power of teamwork, human ingenuity, and determination. Elena realized that the station itself symbolized the frontier, unpredictable, dangerous, and full of opportunity. And like the frontier, humanity could thrive if it acted with courage, creativity, and care. Tara leaned back in her seat, her eyes wide with wonder. Do you think we'll ever see another station like that? Elena smiled. Maybe, but it won't be the same. We've learned too much. We know what to expect, and more importantly, we know how to respond. Humanity is adaptable. That's what sets us apart. Rillen nodded thoughtfully. The frontier is full of challenges, but also full of hope. With the right people, we can face anything. Elena turned her gaze forward into the endless stretch of stars. Then let's make sure we always have the right people. We protect, we explore, and we thrive. That's what humans do. That's what we'll continue to do. The shuttle glided past the edge of the system, and Aurora Prime became a distant speck of light. Ahead, new worlds awaited, uncharted territories filled with possibilities. Elena, Tara, and Rillen faced them with determination, courage, and the confidence that they could handle whatever came next. Elena's heart swelled with pride, not for herself, but for humanity. They had survived, adapted, and triumphed. They had faced machines, conspiracies, and uncertainty, and emerged stronger. She looked at Tara and Rillen, feeling a deep connection forged through trials and shared challenges. "This is just the beginning," she said softly. "The frontier is ours to explore. The future is ours to shape." Tara smiled, gripping the edge of her seat. "And we'll do it together." Rillen nodded. "Together, that's how humans thrive." Elena leaned back, eyes fixed on the stars ahead. She felt hope, excitement, and a sense of purpose she had never known before. The journey that had begun with uncertainty, fear, and isolation had transformed into a mission of exploration, protection, and triumph. The stars stretched endlessly, a canvas of possibility. And Elena, Tara, and Rillen were ready to paint their story across it, guided by courage, intelligence, and the unstoppable spirit of humanity. The frontier awaited, vast and full of challenges, but also full of promise. And humanity, as always, would find a way. The shuttle accelerated, disappearing into the depths of space, carrying with it the hopes, courage, and ingenuity of three humans determined to make a difference. The station behind them, secured and humming steadily, would remain a symbol of their victory, a reminder that humans could face the unknown, overcome the impossible, and thrive even in the most challenging circumstances. And somewhere in the stars, far beyond the reach of the consortium, the first chapter of their adventure was ending, but the story of their frontier journey was only beginning.